And since March, both the former president and Joe Biden have extended the pause in student loan payments. But the relief has reached a conclusion. The legislation signed by Biden in early June, which raised that ceiling, formalized the end of payment pause. Consequently, any further extensions related to the crisis are not possible. Interest resuming occurred on both borrowers' balances from September 1st, and actually payments are set to commence this month. In an email to borrowers, the September Education Department acknowledged the challenges associated with the end of payment pause and the resumption of interest on loans, particularly for those entering repayment for the first time. The department expressed its commitment to support borrowers and ensuring that the necessary resources to prepare for the initial student loan payment in October is going through. In an email, the Education Department acknowledged the challenges associated with the end of the payment pause and the resumption of interest on loans, particularly for those entering payment for the first time. The department expressed its commitment to supporting borrowers and ensuring they have necessary resources to prepare for their initial student loan payment this October. The transition is expected to strain the budgets of many borrowers, given the persistently high inflation rates. So while relief has ended, the Education Department has introduced several initiatives to assist the borrowers in managing their monthly payments. But so far, the Education Department has introduced the SAVE Plan, a new income-driven repayment plan to help the people and affordable. The SAVE Plan also brings about an increase in the income exemption from 150% above the poverty line. This means that borrowers earn $32,000 or less will be exempt from monthly payments. Additionally, the plan eliminates accruing interest on the total amount owed, provided borrowers maintain consistency over the payments. Beyond repayment, the Education Department is issuing for regulations through student loan borrowers, and now it includes target relief as well. Economists have confirmed this will affect the most the next cost of living adjustment for monthly benefits. Some beneficiaries can expect an above-average payout increase. Even the Federal Reserve has released new details on a looming economic recession. High gas prices heated up overall inflation, but the Federal Reserve got some welcome news. Its preferred inflation gauge could cool to its lowest level in 2 years. The Core Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, a closely watched inflation measure that excludes gas and food prices, rose 4% for the 12 months ending in August. And according to the Commerce Department on data, on a monthly basis, Core Personal Consumption Expenditures grew 0.1% in its slowest month. Gas prices heated up last month as well. Energy goods and services shot up 6%. The rising cost of energy may continue, but this month, oil prices surged like for Saudi Arabia and Russia announced plans to extend production cuts. One expert even says that energy prices will eventually bleed through in all the other costs. The certainty is actually a concern for the part of the Fed, as you don't see the president's $90 barrel oil prices going through. The Commerce Department latest personal income and outlays report shows that consumers pulled back their spending, rising 0.4%. The personal savings rate, which is saving as much as the disposable income, declined for the third consecutive month. The combination of a higher gas price in the U.S. and sluggish income growth could weaken consumer spending. If so, it would mark a slowdown in last summer's healthy pace of spending. Americans' financial reserves are even falling at a time when headwinds are picking up speed. Credit card debt is mounting at historically high rates, and delinquencies are growing. Economists are expecting core inflation, but for most seniors, Social Security is necessary. And based on more than 2 decades of annual surveys, Social Security is responsible for 90% of your income. Social Security COLA is a mechanism designed to help beneficiaries keep pace with the inflation they're contending with. And for instance, if the price seniors pay for a basket of goods and services rises from one year to the next, Social Security checks could actually increase by a reasonable amount. One of the biggest issues with Social Security's annual COLA over long periods is the job of keeping the inflation that matters to seniors. With a higher
Mr. President, you started your remarks here today by saying it was good news today with the economic report. Why do you think most people still don't feel positive or feel good news about the economy?
Well, first of all, you just heard the news today, too. They haven't heard it. I think the people, those 300+ thousand people who got jobs, feel better about the economy. Look, I got to choose my words here. You all are not the happiest people in the world, what you report. And I mean it sincerely. It gets you get more legs when you're reporting something that's negative. I don't mean you're picking on me, or I'm just the nature of things. You turn on the television, and there's not a whole lot about boy saves dog as he swims in the lake, to say, it's about, somebody pushed the dog in the lake. I mean, I get it, but if you just Listen to what's going on around the world.
In Colorado, Governor Jared Polis previously signed legislation that is going to provide residents with a tax rebate. The state's Department of Revenue announced in an official statement that the governor signed a new law to give Coloradans a tax rebate of $750 for individual filers and $1,500 for joint filers this summer. This law will provide immediate relief to Coloradans by sending you a check this summer instead of spring 2023. The Colorado Department of Revenue is working hard to make sure that residents get the right tax refund as soon as possible. According to the state's Department of Revenue, for residents who received an extended tax filing deadline of October 17th, the tax rebate check will be received by January 31st, 2023. Other states have also signed similar legislation, including Georgia, Delaware, Idaho, and Indiana. Now, breaking news, everybody. Senate Democrat Joe Manchin is upset at Senate Minority Mitch McConnell for opposing the new changes on President Biden's economic agenda. Top Democrats in the Senate are now revising a new version of the Build Back Better legislation. The lawmakers would like to see a monthly benefit boost included to the bill. Top Democrats in the Senate are now revising a new version of the Build Back Better legislation. The lawmakers would like to see a monthly benefit boost included to the bill. And today, Joe Manchin said on top that he's not dissuaded by warnings from the top Senate Republican leader to sink a bipartisan bill that would only strengthen the U.S. economic competitiveness. Manchin finally has a brand new plan to fight inflation and help the American people. Millions of Americans may get extra $225 stimulus checks under this new stimulus proposal. Millions of people could get millions of Americans could also get additional cash payments of $225 under a new proposal. That comes as red-hot inflation continues, and qualifying residents in Indiana may soon see the relief. Indiana's Republican governor is also proposing a plan to send $225 payments to people in the state amid the highest inflation since 1981 by tapping into the state's growing budget surplus. The governor said he will call for a special legislative session before the end of June, so lawmakers can consider and potentially act on a plan that will total $1 billion in budget surpluses. He said Indiana residents have real needs right now during this period of high inflation, from the gas pump to buying groceries, and everyone should benefit from the state's success. The $225 check comes after about 4.3 million of the state's taxpayers began receiving $125 payments last month under the same law. According to the governor's office, if it's approved, each Indiana resident who has filed 2021 taxes would be eligible to now receive a combined total of about $350 in payments. Married couples filing jointly would also receive about $700. The additional deposit will be made to the bank accounts of eligible residents in Indiana who have filed their tax returns. And that's the good news I want to hear from everybody. Now, skyrocketing gas prices is definitely a huge problem for the White House, and while the administration began the month by pivoting heavily toward its economic message, experts say the attempt
Just